Ideas are a dime a dozen. They're really not that hard to come up with because, I mean, anybody can generate an idea, but it's really who executes on those ideas. But the problem that a lot of people run into is they have all these really good ideas. They have all these fantastic ideas of moving themselves forward, of moving their businesses forward, of making more money, of decreasing the stress in their business, of making everything easier on themselves and the customer and just increasing the long-term growth of their business. But they get caught up because the ideas that they generate aren't that quality. And when they execute on those non-quality ideas, well, they don't really get good results. And so over time, their trust in their own decision making starts to erode. And so when that happens enough times, the self-confidence that they have in their own decision making and their own ideas starts to waver. And so a big problem that I see entrepreneurs run into is they need 30 different opinions on one thing that they think is going to move their business forward and move themselves forward because they don't trust the quality of their ideas. So here's 8 steps that I use and my clients have started to use to generate ideas that are quality for your business that you can execute on and know in the back of your mind that yes, this is the right thing I should be doing. This is the thing that's going to move me forward and continue to move me forward for a very long time. This is not something that if I do it wrong, it's going to move my business in completely the other direction. This is not something that I'm just putting out on a whim. This is a quality, legitimate idea that I have generated for my business that I'm going to execute on to move myself forward. So here's 8 steps to do that. The 8 step process that I use to evaluate and generate marketing ideas. First, we have to look at the customer perspective. We have to look at everything through the customer's eyes. Okay, so we have to first take the customer's point of view, examine everything as the customer sees it, from the order form to typing in their credit card number to opening the packaging, everything. You have to look at it from the customer's perspective. And if something isn't quality there, well, how do we fix that? Right? Are you communicating as clearly, as consistently, as professionally as your customers are expecting you to? Right? Are you taking a corporate approach when you can be taking a more lighthearted approach, right? Are you talking to them as though as they want to be talked to, right? Are you playing on their level or do they feel like you're above them, right? Look at it from their perspective. The second one is to meet or exceed the competition's service. All right. So most people don't shop with you because they're sentimental towards you, right? They don't have some, deep-seated emotional attachment towards you. But if you have competition, service is always going to undermine loyalty. All right. So a competitor that is playing catch up loses credibility with the customer and will operate less efficient from you. So what this means is you have to, if you want an idea of how you can make more money and remove some stress from yourself, how are you going to exceed the competition service? How are you going to make service in kind of a long-term mentality a better thing for you, right? How are you going to make that a leverage point for your business, right? And so it's honestly not that difficult. You really just kind of go through their process, see, what happens at each breakpoint in their process. If you have to give them 25 bucks while you're doing it, fine, for purchasing their product, what is their delivery time? How can you make that better? What goes on their website? How do they collect an email? How can you make your service better than that? If you have a problem with the product, how do you get in touch with it? Do they have a phone line? Well, no. Okay, well, can we add one to ours? Can we add a chat bot to our website? Small things like that. This isn't a system that I use to develop grand schemes and grand ideas. This is how I develop ideas of how to move my business forward without, doing things that are not going to help me, and move me backwards or hold me back. Okay. So just a little preface for the rest of it. All right. So the third part of this is knowing yourself. Okay. Know yourself and your business inside out. Only by knowing what is unique about your company can you leverage your strengths and address your weaknesses in customer relationships. All right. Now, on this one, I want to clarify that this also goes for knowing your business as far as your decision making goes. So if you make decisions based on unfounded ideas of your business and you make decisions based on things about yourself and things about your business that aren't true, well, you're going to get bad results. You're not going to get the results that you're looking for because you're not making that decision on solid ground. And in fact, you're making that decision on ground that doesn't exist because you don't actually know your business and you don't actually know yourself. So when you're making decisions in your business and you're generating ideas, you have to actually know the reality of your business and the reality of you. Because if you don't, any decision, any idea that you have is basically going to be like building a house on sand, and it'll wash away as soon as you put it to the market, and you waste time, money, and most importantly, energy on putting that thing out there when it was doomed from the beginning because you didn't understand reality. Next part is meet commitments. Consistently meet your commitments. Every company honors their product guarantees, but a ton of them miss deadlines, right? They fail to update the customer on their order, and they only give service when a customer requires it, right? Meet commitments and exceed the expectations of the customer. All right, so there's great ways to optimize your business as far as like the commitments that you have put out for them. A thank you email, how quickly does that go out? How quickly does the shipped email go out? How quickly are your products fulfilled? How quickly are updates gotten to your customer if something happens in the fulfillment process or the shipping process, right? Those things that, aren't technically like trackable or measurable on like a timetable or like an Excel sheet, most people just kind of forget about them, right? And every synapse of your business, at every break point of your business, you must be excellent or people won't come back for a second, third, fourth, fifth purchase. Next part is efficiency. You must be efficient to be successful. No company exists that can maintain profit and share of your total addressable market while operating less efficiently than its customers. The easiest way to lose market share and profits is failing to focus on efficiency and getting things done, right? Orders out, decisions made, processes executed, done promptly while looking for more market share. Okay, so let me rephrase that in an easier way to do it. I write most of these in the morning, so they get kind of like, oh, like this is Joe's morning typing, it kind of sounds real corporate-y and stuff. But the easiest way to lose your market share is basically by failing to focus on like the operations of your business and optimizing kind of from the inside out, then by focusing most of your energy on like new customers in. So if you're way too focused on like ads and new customers in it, all that, and you just completely neglect people who've already purchased from you and making your systems as optimized as possible, I mean, you're going to make a little bit of money, but you're not going to be as efficient as possible, and you're not going to make the most money you possibly can. Okay? The next part is anticipate. So anticipate everything. Right? You cannot be reactory in business, and especially internet business. It moves way too fast. So delight your customers by knowing what they're going to appreciate before they even know it. Right? Win over new customers by accurately anticipating your competition's services capabilities and then beating them to the punch. Okay, so the first part, delight your customers by knowing what they'll appreciate before they even know it. So before they even have a problem, delight your customer. Right? So like we talked about in an earlier video, it's very easy to make the customer experience good after something gets broken. Right? That's a very easy thing to do. But by making the customer experience fantastic before the problem even happens, but still going the extra mile for them, means they're not really going to take you for granted. Right? If you continue to delight them and you continue to go that extra mile before they even have a problem, you're not going to get into that, lull of complacency that a lot of customers get into, but you're also going to get that benefit of that long-term sale, right? Without having to deal with the disadvantages. Then the next part is anticipate like what your competitors are doing, like their service capabilities. You don't have to copy their product, but like if they have same day shipping, well, anticipate that, right? If they had 14-day shipping, if now they have 7-day shipping, and then tomorrow they have 3-day shipping, well, what's the next one in that sequence? Well, probably same day shipping. So how are you going to beat them to the punch and offer same day shipping, quicker than them, to your customers? Right? Nobody can lead by being complacent. Amazon didn't lead by being complacent. Apple doesn't lead by being complacent. These companies anticipate what everybody else is going to do and where the market is going, and then they do it before everybody else. And then they're that first mover and they get the credit. Nobody else does. When you think same day, first day shipping, same day, 2-day shipping, what company do you think of? You think of Amazon, because they're the ones that publicized it and they're the ones that beat everybody else to the punch. Okay? Long-term thinking. Commit long-term. If you have a well thought out idea of where customer expectations and competitors' capabilities will be in the next 5 to 10 years, lay the groundwork now to gain that advantage, right? Amazon, like we just talked about, they anticipated customers would be time constrained, and they made 2-day or same-day shipping a standard and gained market share because of it. So think long-term in your business. A lot of people get caught up in trying to scale their businesses using short-term numbers and short-term thinking. So if you're trying to scale your business, but the only thing that you can think about is the money today, and you're always constantly inside the business, you're never going to grow to where you can grow because you're always going to be thinking about what's going on today, right? You have to think long term. You have to think about, what is the customer going to want next year, right? What are they going to want in 6 months? Everything in your business is long term. This is not a short term game. And the companies that succeed long term are the companies that continue to anticipate their customers' objections and needs before they even happen and consistently do that on a regular basis. Even it can be the smallest thing, but it's the companies that do the small things that add up and stack up to that big thing that gives them all the market share possible. All right? So you must measure everything. This is the most important, and this is the most important thing for me because I'm a marketer. This might not to you seem like the most important thing, but to me as a marketer and a business growth consultant, this is the most important thing. You have to measure everything in your business. If you can't measure or track something, you cannot manage it. Right? Everybody measures their gross margin, right? Their SG&A expenses and their capital spending, but how many people track on-time delivery, timely fulfillment, delay notifications, or customer satisfaction level? Not many of them. All right. In most of my businesses, what I do is I have like measurements for specific tickets, right? So for customer satisfaction tickets, I make sure that I'm at a 90% satisfaction rate or higher every single week. And if I'm not, that's something that I'm measuring and I know my customers aren't satisfied, so they might not come back. Well, now I got to figure out how to make that better. What is breaking down that is not making the 90% a reality, right? Where do I fix? What do I fix? Right? And if you can't measure or track something, you don't know that it's wrong, so you can't manage it and make it better. And that's going to affect you, especially if, things happen over time and continue to happen. Small little things that you can't measure, those things are going to stack up into a huge bad customer experience for your customers, and they're not going to return to you and they're not going to spend more from you. All right? So, tracking actual results, like actual customer satisfaction, actual fulfillment times, actual delivery times, actual numbers, instead of just like internal KPIs of, oh, we have to hit this. They're the minimum, right, in measuring future success. But you have to compare those two things. That is the absolute minimum. All right. So I hope this gave you some clarity on how to grow your business by generating good ideas. Okay, the most important one is measuring. You have to measure. And if you don't measure, you can't manage things. Okay? So this is how I generate good ideas for my businesses. This is how I generate good ideas for my clients. And this is kind of the process that I use to evaluate the frameworks and the kind of the models that we put everything through. Right? So if I want to move the business forward, it usually happens in one of those categories there. All right, because again, there's only three ways really to grow a business, and we know this. We've talked about this before. You can generate more customers on the front end. You can make more revenue per sale, or you can increase the amount of time somebody purchases from you. So when you're trying to grow your business, those three things are kind of like your top. And then right below those, you have these things right here, these 8 ideas of kind of how those play into that. So if you want to make more revenue, right, you pick one of the 3 at the top, then you pick one of these 8 to optimize within that thing that you've selected out of the 3, and then that's your idea. That's your generator of ideas, right? So like for ads, for example, there's things that people don't track with ads. Overall attribution is very hard to track with ads, but I mean, you can get pretty close to it, but some people don't. And that means that they can't manage their ads. They don't know when their ads are doing bad or when they're doing good. Right? And the absolute minimum is like internal KPI to what the actual results are. Like what do we want to hit, and then comparing that. That's the minimum on the ads, and then comparing the actual results to kind of the long-term success, right? Your ad, like right now, if it's doing well, that's great. It generates 20 purchases this month. Well, how many purchases do the people that came from that ad purchase over time? Right? If we're paying $5 more for purchases on one ad, but that ad generates customers that purchase 5 times, and this ad right here, it costs $5 less to get that initial purchase, but those people only purchase twice. Well, that's something that people don't track. They don't measure that, right? And that's an idea of, oh, okay, now we have the idea of, making ads that are more similar to the ad that costs $5 more, but generates more lifetime value, right? And so that's kind of how you use this. So you pick one of the top 3, and then you apply these things to those 3, and you've got some pretty good ideas that are going to consistently get you good long-term success in your business. Okay, so that's my 8-step process to generate good quality ideas that I can rely on, kind of generate self-confidence for myself and my businesses and for my clients. And I hope that you got some good ideas out of that, I guess, you know. So yeah, so if you liked this and you enjoyed this video and this helped you in any way, then I want to offer you the opportunity to progress that help specifically for your business. And there's three ways that you can do it. All of them are going to be at creativeroas.com. The first thing that you can do is you can get a full breakdown of my proprietary system for growth. Okay, this is the process that we use for all of our clients. It's 3 steps, very basic. Most of it comes down to stripping away the things that don't work in the business and aren't moving it forward, and then growing from the inside out through optimization. Instead of just like having a business that works a little bit and then stacking a bunch of stuff on top that just leads to extreme overwhelm and stress and anxiety, we grow from the inside out. Okay, and it's been working well for us and all of our clients. And I just broke it down for you. It's at creativeroas.com. It's one of the options there. The second option that you can do is you can get the system that we use for emails. So the email system we use is 2 steps. It's very basic. It takes like a fraction of the time of normal emails that people send for their businesses, and it generates extremely good results for us. It's just very basic, very easy to do. Anybody can do it no matter what you sell. It works best for people who sell products, but it'll work for you no matter what you sell. Then the third thing that you can do is probably my favorite thing, because I actually get to talk with you. You can actually book a time to chat directly with me or somebody on my team to go through your business as a whole and get an action plan blueprint together on getting you to your goals. And so we'll look at where you're at right now. We'll look at where you want to go, and then we'll look at that gap, you know, between the two. And that gap is what we're going to try and close, right? We'll give you that blueprint to kind of have the milestones that you need to hit, and kind of the daily, you know, execution that you need to have to hit those milestones and ultimately close that gap. So if that's something that you're interested in, go to creativeroas.com. It'll also be somewhere around this video, and I will see you over there, and hopefully we can talk soon.